So today I want to talk to you about closing the gap from where you are to where you want to be. And ultimately the topic is around mastery. Several years ago I had the privilege of going to Italy for a couple weeks with my wife, and it was amazing. We went to a cathedral, we went to museums, we saw amazing art exhibits, sculptures, day after day, place after place. There was always something new to see, and really we're looking through a lens of history for hundreds of years how people who had great visions of possibility were able to bring their works to life. Our journey carried us to a city called Florence, and in Florence there was an art gallery called the Accademia. And we were going through the Accademia. There were some low-lit rooms, and they had these spotlights on these unbelievable paintings. They were priceless. Whenever we came out of one of the dark rooms, there was a statue that we encountered. The statue was a very famous statue created by Michelangelo, and it was called the David. And when we came out, it was stunning. This was on an 8-foot pedestal. It stood about 19 feet above the pedestal. It had this glass dome that was over top of it, and it allowed the sunlight to illuminate to see the work of art. And I couldn't help but notice the hundreds and hundreds of people that were around the David taking photographs. Whenever I got a little closer to the David, you began to see things that Michelangelo did that was really a work of art. You see like the hands, you saw the veins in the hands and how the hands were so carefully crafted. On the feet, you began to notice the knuckles of the toes, the toenails. In the eyes, it was as if David could see through your soul. It was as if he knew the character of you. It was just an amazing imagery of how Michelangelo saw something in his mind and he brought it to life. You know, I was wondering how he could do that. Michelangelo actually said every block of stone has a statue inside it, and it's the task of the sculptor to discover it. He also said is that I saw an angel in the marble, and I carved it out until I set him free. I couldn't help but think that our life is not too much different than a block of marble. Leading up to the David, there was this long hallway, and you'll see to the right and left these images. And what I began to notice is the majority of the people were going straight from the statue of David to take pictures. Very few people stopped to look at these statues called the prisoners. In fact, Michelangelo actually created the prisoners, and they were getting no notice. These prisoners, as you'll see, are stuck in blocks of statue. These were his unfinished works. It's almost as if the prisoners are trying to escape these blocks. I couldn't help but think about our life is not too much different. In a sense, when we graduate from college or we get married or we start our journeys as entrepreneurs, we in a sense are a block of marble. We are an unfinished product. We are poised with potential. We are poised with opportunities. We are poised with the abilities to do great works and enhance beauty and enhance value to the people that we come in contact, whether they're the people at our organizations or the clients that we have the privilege of serving. So I began to realize that because our life is like a block of marble, it's really important as sculptors of our own life to have a vision of the end result. In a sense, there are 4 types of people who, in a sense, chisel on our lives. The first is other people. There's other people who are day by day chiseling on you. There's people that we come in contact, whether it's our sphere of influence, our brothers, our sisters, our friends, that are taking wax with their hammer and their chisels at your marble. The second person is yourself. Do you have a vision of where you hope to be in the next 5, 10 years? Is the decisions that we make moving us towards a beautiful outcome that in a sense will inspire people for generations to come? The third type of person that's chiseling and sculpting on our life is the media, is the world, is the people who are clamoring for our potential or for our attention. And do we have filtering systems that where we, in a sense, safeguard this work of art? Because whenever we are no longer here, people are going to look back at our life as entrepreneurs, as brothers, as mothers, as friends, fathers, fill in the blank. They're going to look at our lives and see, in a sense, this legacy. Ultimately, our life is going to sum to 2 things. Either we're going to be a warning or an example. And I think that for all of us as business owners, we have an amazing privilege to lead organizations by being an example. At our company, we say quite often is that our external world is a direct reflection of our internal world. And so if our internal world is in chaos, if our internal world is under distress, if our internal world is not moving towards a higher object to be able to lead people to, so will our external worlds in our culture, in our clients. So with the prisoners, I began when I came back from Florence to notice life through a different lens. I had many people in my sphere of influence that were friends of mine for long periods of time, and in a sense, I noticed that they had become stuck in their own blocks of marbles. I noticed that they had began to, in a sense, draw this virtual line in the sand and say, you know what, I'm educated enough. You know what, I'm fine. I've made enough money, or I'm fine with my family structure. They stopped pushing themselves to the limits to really see what's possible with their life. What I noticed when I was at the academia, the people that came to the statue of David, this is after centuries of people, this work of art is still in this museum to where people from all over the world want to come see it and want to come take a picture of it. I felt like our life is much, much, much more valuable. In a sense, our lives have inherent value. A stone does not have inherent value. And so one of the greatest privileges I believe that we have as entrepreneurs is this ability to create our culture and our company to be an extension of who we are. You know, obviously all of us are entrepreneurs in this room, and I was recently asked by several members from the EO in regards to the exit plan of my company, and like, when do you want to sell out? And the first thought that I had was, I'd never sell it. This is an extension of my work. This is a legacy that I have the ability to leave. This is something that I can make a generational impact. And I started to really resonate as I was talking with this idea that I could send 10,000 kids to college by employing their parents. I could have generational impact by helping husbands and mothers and fathers and wives become more contribute-oriented people, growth-oriented people. And so I just want to encourage us as we are trying to close the gap from where we are to where we want to be. It's not always in the terms of where our company is in the stage. It's really a manifestation of how we are crafting in our own life. So when we talk about the prisoners, there's three things that I just wanted to point out. Is the first being that a prisoner in a block of marble is an unplanned life. It's also an unfinished life, or a life with potential. I recently went to a funeral, and I thought at the funeral, man, I never want to die with someone to say, man, that guy had so much potential. He could have done such a great job with his life. The goal in life is to die on E. The goal in life is to die with nothing left in the tank. And I think that when we have our businesses, when we have our companies, and we have our staff and culture, it gives us the opportunity to let this be the threshing floor, let this be the weight room or the gym, or this be the rink by which we become our best self. When we talk about a legacy, there's 5 final points I want to make. The first is, as the artist of your life, you must have a vision of what's possible. You must have a vision of where you're going to go, the outcome of your life. The next thing is you must be responsible for how your life takes shape. When you saw the veins in the hands, when you saw like the attention to detail with the ears on the statue, you saw the attention to detail with the knuckles of the toes, the artist had a responsibility to protect his statue. He just didn't let somebody come and throw a party around his statue. He didn't let people to be influencing the work of art that he was doing. How much greater of importance is our life? Third is you must have wisdom for who you allow to shape your life. We're being shaped by society. We're being shaped by the world. We're being shaped by the people in our lives. One of the things I've learned as a sculptor is that we must raise our standards to have some vigilance about who we allow to shape us. Next is we must have courage to swing the hammer. So many times we get paralyzed by the effort of growth, by the effort of taking a risk, and we do not want to fail. And our view for our business, our view for ourselves is to go through life unscathed. What I've realized is it takes courage to swing the hammer, especially whenever you're working on a statue like David and you're working on such a fine point like a finger or a nose. A little bit too much pressure, you're going to knock the nose off and the statue's done for. In a similar way, in our life, we must have some sensitivity and realize, do we have courage to swing the hammer? Lastly is you must have grace to forgive yourselves whenever you make a mistake, because it is happening. I want to end on this is, what is your vision for your life? What do you want your funeral to look like? Who do you want to be there? What do you want to say about you? What work of art are you creating? And is it going to have a legacy that is enduring past you? Finally is, make your life a masterpiece. Thank you so much.